Hello everyone, hi. Today we are going to see the experimental verification of de Broglie's hypothesis or the matter waves. In 1924, de Broglie put forth the hypothesis of the matter wave here. According to de Broglie, all moving particles exhibiting the wave-like characteristics. He suggested bold and novel suggestion that the every moving particle exhibiting the wave-like characteristics, there is no experimental evidence for that, but he gives the novel and bold suggestion. But the first experimental verification of that hypothesis come to focus in 1927. The experiment is performed by the first experimental verification of de Broglie's or the matter waves is given by Davison and the Germer. They perform the experiment of the electron diffraction. Electrons is incident on a particularly metal or the nickel crystal, and they are diffracted, and the results are not explained in those days. So they taken it into account the de Broglie's idea, and they are successful, and therefore the first experimental verification of de Broglie's matter wave is given by Davison and Germer in 1927. So today we will see how the experimental verification come to focus here. So for that, the experimental arrangement used by the Davison and the Germer is shown in this figure here. So the experimental arrangement consists of here the main parts of the instruments or the Davison experimental setup are the 5 parts. The first is nothing but here the electron gun. Here is nothing but the electron gun. It consists of the filament. It consists of the tungsten filament here. When this filament is heated, the electrons are emitted from the filament by thermionic emission. The electrons can be emitted by many methods. When the electrons are emitted from the surface of the electron by heating it, then it is called as thermionic emission, electron emitted by means of the thermal process. If some light of proper frequency is incident on the surface of metal, the electrons also ejected from the surface of the metal. The process is known as here the photoemission. Likewise here the thermal emission is used. So this is the electron gun. It consists of tungsten filament here. When it is heated at a proper temperature, it emits the electron here. So this is the first part, is nothing but here the electron gun here, and it gives the flow of electrons. The second part is nothing but here electrostatic particle accelerator here. It consists of, this is the part particularly here, the accelerator here, electrostatic accelerator. In this case, 2 charge plates are used. Here is nothing but suppose positive charge plate here, and this is nothing but here the negative charge plates. So the electrostatic field is produced in this accelerator, and this gives rise to the electrons are emitted from this, and these electrons can be accelerated, can be given high velocity by means of what here the accelerator. So this is electrostatic here, the particle accelerator here, and by means of here the velocity of the electron can be increased by applying this accelerating voltage, that is nothing but V. This accelerating voltage is increased, the velocity of the electrons are faster and faster here, and it means the electrons is accelerated by means of the applied voltage, that is V. Then this accelerator is enclosed, not shown here, it is enclosed in a what here, the cylinder here, this enclosed in a cylinder in such a way, and which has the small opening like this. Here it is not shown here. This is the cylinder. So accelerator is enclosed in a cylinder like this. Here is nothing but cylinder here, and it has this small opening. So fine pencil beam of accelerated electrons is obtained from this here, and then this here this. So this is the function of what here? The electrostatic particle accelerator. What is the function? It consists of two positively charged plates here. So the electric field will be produced, and the electrons emitted from the filament will be accelerated with at different velocities by means of changing the accelerating voltage V given to the plates here. Then this beam incident, fine penciled beam of incident electron is falls on this next part, that is nothing but target. Target is nothing but what here? The single nickel crystal here. The target consists of the single nickel crystal here, and here it means here the planes of the nickel crystals are smoothly defined. That is, we are getting the principal planes in the single nickel crystal here. So this is the single nickel crystal. This is the what here? The target, and it is capable of rotating. It is capable of rotating here about the fixed axis. Fixed means it is the capable of rotating about here the direction parallel to the incident beam of electrons. It is like this. So it can be rotated. Fixed directions means it can be capable of rotating. It can be capable of rotating along the direction parallel to the what here? This is the beam of electron, and this is the rotator. Suppose here is nickel crystal, then it will be rotated about what here? This direction parallel to the incident direction. Likewise here. Next part is nothing but what here? Detector. When these fast electrons are incident, here we have incident the normally here. The electrons are scattered or the diffracted in different direction. Here is one direction is shown, but it will be diffracted in this direction, in this direction, in this direction, and so in the angle of 20 degree to 90 degree here. So the incident electrons will be scattered in different directions. So like this, different directions here. So this is the what here? The particularly next, and the scattered next part is nothing but detector. The intensity of the scattered electron or the scattered electron can be detected by means of this part, that is the detector here. The detector can be moved. The detector can be moved here in a semicircular path here. This is the semicircular particularly scale on which the detector can be moved. So it can be detect here the electrons, as well as it detects the angle between the incident beam of electron and the scattered electron. This angle also simultaneously he detect particularly. So detector can be moved on a semicircular scale to detect the intensity or to detect the scattered electrons here. Then this detector is connected to the galvanometer. Galvanometer measures the electronic current. So the intensity of the scattered electrons detected by the detector can be measured by means of the galvanometer. So it measures the intensity of the electron current. So this is the galvanometer. So next part is detector. Now here the whole instrument is enclosed in an outer chamber. Outer chamber, that is the vacuum chamber here. So this is dotted line represents here the outer chamber. So the whole experiment is done within the what here? The outer vacuum chamber. What will happen is that if the vacuum chamber is not used here, the residual gases like oxygen, nitrogen, helium, etc., residual gases in the air, this electron will be deflected or scattered from those residual gases, and we will not get the proper results. To prevent that here, the instrument or the arrangement is enclosed in what here? The vacuum chamber here. So this is somewhat the construction of or the experimental setup and the functions of the different parts used in the division and German experiments. Now here the working. Now here the working we will see. Working. So in this here the incident electron beam is incident normally. Here incident normally on the nickel crystal. Incident normally on the nickel crystal. Then here the incident beam of the electrons will be scattered in different directions, like this direction, and so on. Particularly here, the intensity of, so at the fixed potential, that is by known potential, that is V, electron will be traveling with proper velocity, with depends on this accelerating potential. By known potential here, the electron beam is incident normally on a nickel crystal. Then electrons will be scattered in different directions. So then detector is moved on this volumeter scale here, and we are getting here the intensity of the diffracted or the scattered electrons is measured or noted with the help of galvanometer here. So at fixed potential, electron beam is incident normally on a nickel crystal. Then electrons will be scattered in different directions, and that can be detected. Scattered electrons can be detected by moving the detector on the semicircle scale, and the galvanometer current in each position is noted here. Then plot the graph of here the intensity of scattered electron. So plot the graph. This is here the plot the graph of, this is the intensity here, intensity, that is galvanometer current, intensity of scattered electron, intensity of scattered electron here, scattered electron in this case along this direction, and here is nothing but co-altitude, angle between the incident beam and scattering electron, incident beam of electron and the scattered electron, this is the theta, is known as co-altitude. So plot this versus angle. So you are getting, if suppose beam here is getting angle is different, here is angle different, here is also the angle is different, and so on, here is angle also different. So this is called as co-altitude. So we will plot here the co-altitude, or I will say only theta. So this is the co-altitude. Theta is nothing but what here? The co-altitude. So we are getting the co-altitude here. The co-altitude, that is theta. So this angle will be goes from here 0 to 90 degree. Here angle goes from what here? 0 to 90 degree. If scattered beam is obtained at lower angle here, so here is nothing but 0, and here is maximum angle will be scattered beam will be obtained in this direction, that is maximum. So 0 to 90 degree along this intensity of scattered electron, and here is the co-altitude. It is seen that here the intensity goes on increasing like this, continuously goes on increasing of, and this is the graph at potential. At potential what here? The V applied in potential is equal to 40 volt. It is equal to what here? The 40 volt. This is the 40 volt. See, this is the 40 volt. So the accelerating potential is equal to 40 volt. Then graph intensity of scattered electron versus the co-altitude gives the continuous like this at potential voltage equal to 40 volt. The experiment is repeated for different accelerating voltages here, 40 volt, 44 volt, and so on. It is in that here. If the experiment is here, the done at accelerating potential that is V is equal to 44 volt. 44 volt. Then it is in that bump begins to start at this position like this. So graph, this is the intensity of the scattering electrons versus the theta. So same you are getting on x-axis intensity of scattered electron, on y-axis co-altitude here. The bump begins to start at the 40 volt. Also it is in that here the bump here, if the experiment is repeated at V is equal to accelerating voltage is equal to 48 volt. Here is 48 volt. Then it is in that the bump begins move upward. The bump moves upward, and we are getting like this graph here. Bump begins to increase at the accelerating voltage is increased. The most prominent, particularly here, the bump here. Suppose this is the graph of intensity versus theta. At accelerating voltage, it is equal to 54 volt. It is equal to 54 volt here. 54 volt. Then bump is obtained in its most prominent stage here, most development stage we are getting here at a coaltitude of here at the angle of here is nothing but 50 degree. Here is nothing but what here the 50 degree we are getting. These angles are different. Here we are getting different angle. Here is also we are getting different angle. So like this here the most prominent stage is obtained. After further increase of the accelerating voltage, it is seen that bump begins to decrease here. So like this. After next, it will be again, we are getting small, and lastly it will vanish. It will be vanished like this here. So these results are obtained. This is at nearly about 72 volt. This is the accelerating voltage. It is again continuous, nearly about what here? The 72 volt here. 72 volt. Here is nothing but accelerating voltage. For example, this is the graph for 68 volt. 68 volt. This is the graph accelerating voltage. This is at 64 volt and so on here. 64 volt. So as increasing voltage at 40 volt, there is no any observation of the bump. Bump is observed in start at this accelerating voltage 44 volt. The bump begins to move up and attains a most prominent stage of the development stage at accelerating voltage 54 volt here, and then after increasing the accelerating voltage, the bump begins to decrease here and finally vanishes here. So these are the observations observed in a case of the Davison and Larmor experiment. Davison and Larmor thought that this is similar to the particularly. They obtained here the maxima here. The intensity is not continuous like this. In those cases, this and this case, there is what here the discontinuity in the particularly intensity observed. This is continuous here. Here is also continuous, but in between these here we are getting here the maxima and the minima intensity. Intensity goes on increasing, attains maximum, again decreases. So here the maxima and the minima is observed here. Then how to explain that? They thought that here these maxima and minima are similar to the X-ray diffraction as observed earlier. In case of the X-ray diffraction, instead of these X-rays are incident on the crystal, then such a maxima and the minima are observed. So this maximum and the minimum, this is maximum and then we are getting the minimum. Here we are getting maximum, then we are getting the minimum. So this maximum and the minimum can be or corresponding to the or similar to the diffraction pattern obtained in case of X-ray diffraction. So they thought that, so we will consider this electron not as a particle, but it can be considered as wave. It can be considered as a wave, as assumed, as given, as suggested by the de Broglie here. So electron can be considered as a wave, as suggested by the de Broglie's hypothesis. See, they taken this and calculated here the wavelength of the wave, electron wave. They calculate the wavelength of the electron wave by considering, or we are knowing that here the wavelength of the de Broglie's wave is given by ratio of Planck's constant to the momentum of the particle, that is nothing but p. So this will be equal to, now to determine the momentum here, we will take here like this, the total energy of the particle is sum of the kinetic energy plus the potential energy, plus the potential energy. So this will be equal to total energy is nothing but E here, and the kinetic energy is nothing but T, plus in this case for the free moving particle the potential energy is 0. So this will be equal to kinetic energy is nothing but what here? So E will be equal to half mv square. So half mv square. This is equal to half mv square. So multiplying and dividing by the m, we are getting here the m square v square divided by twice m. So here we will multiply and divide by m to this equation, we are getting this. But m square v square is nothing but v square, momentum square. That is nothing but what here? The twice m. So E is equal to, so we will take P is equal to, so from this equation we are getting P is equal to square root of twice me. Here twice me. So we will take here the h divided by twice me, square root of what here? The twice me. So E is equivalent to the electric field here. So this will be equal to, this is equivalent to the H divided by square root of here the twice m into charge on electron into accelerating voltage, that is nothing but V here. So we are getting like this equation. Now putting all the constants, by putting the values of all the constant here, we are getting, so we are knowing m is equal to m mass of the electron, h Planck's constant, this is next after E charge on the electron, and accelerating voltage here is equal to 54 volt, and by here the putting all the standard values of mass of the electron, Planck's constant here, this comes out to be 1.66 angstrom. This comes out to be what here? 66 angstrom here. The mass nearly about 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 34 kg, I think. This will be equal to 6 point something, 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule into second. Charge, it will be equal to 1.9 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb here. And by putting all these values, let me check these all values are correct or not here. So by putting all these values, m 9.1, okay, then E 1.6 into 10 to the power 1.6 here, and putting all these values here, we are getting, these are standard values, and accelerating voltage, we will calculate the wavelength for this most development state. Also it is possible to, in the small bump, we can also determine the lambda here, but for the most field we have calculated, that is lambda is equal to what here? 1.66 angstrom. Also the wavelength can be determined by means of the Bragg's diffraction condition. So that Bragg's diffraction condition is given as, we are already knowing 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda. 2d sin theta, or n lambda is equal to, say, n lambda is equal to 2d sin of, in this case it is seen that 90 degree minus theta by 2 here. So we are getting this equation. So this is the, according to de Broglie's theory, n lambda is equal to, this is the diffraction condition, only those diffractions are possible for which this condition is satisfied. So here the n is equal to 1. This is for principal diffracting planes, n is equal to 1. D, for the single nickel crystal, it is found to be equal to 2.15 angstrom unit. It is determined from other experiment, here the angstrom unit. So so D is nothing but interplanar spinning, distance between two successive parallel planes. Perpendicular distance between successive two parallel planes is nothing but interplanar spacing, that is known for the SRD method here. and theta is equal to here, the theta is equal to 50. So co-altitude here found to be equal to what here, the 50 degree. So by putting all these values in this case, the lambda comes out to be 1.65 angstrom. 1.65 angstrom. So all these values, both the values experimentally and theoretically determined are matches, and therefore here the electron can be considered as a wave. This hypothesis is what here, the confirmed. So electron behaving as a wave. So the first experimental verification of de Broglie's matter waves is given by Davison and Germer experiment in this way. After this, so this is given. De Broglie's hypothesis is given in 1924. After 3 years, in 1927 here, this hypothesis is confirmed or valid, and therefore in 1927 de Broglie got the Nobel Prize for this for his hypothesis of the de Broglie. Next here, there are so many experiments are performed. For example, J.P. Thomson also performed the experiment of the diffraction experiment, and he also obtained. J.P. Thomson means the son of J.J. Thomson. J.J. Thomson model we have knowing, and the J.P. Thomson is son of that J.J. Thomson. He also here gave the second proof of the de Broglie's hypothesis. So today what we have seen is nothing but here de Broglie gives bold and novel suggestion of the wave nature of the particle, here, and that will be verified experimentally in 1927, which is given by the Davison and Germer experiment, and then here the new field or the new field is developed in physics, what we know as the wave mechanics. The particle behave as a particle can be considered as a wave. Then we can write the in the next chapters we will prove, we will see the wave equation. This is the particularly the new quantum mechanics is born particularly, and in which we will see the fundamental equation which can be applied for the tiny particles which exhibiting the wave-like characteristics, and all that we will see in the next lectures. Okay, thank you.